everyone, Nat 1995 here in the video game fanfic plot with a new story for you all. It is called A Spark of Life. And remember, I do not own this story and I give full credit to its author, that is Kiera27 on fanfiction.net, and this a Harry Potter crossover with Transformers. Now on to the story.
Revelations. Bumblebee gets more nervous by the day. He actually ran away from me when I tried to get him to practice with those pea shooters of his. Ironhide leaned against one of Red Alert's new watchtowers and looked over at where Bumblebee and Samuel were conversing with several of the human soldiers. Every now and then one of them would glance over at the group of Autobots and then glance away almost guiltily. I doubt it will be much longer before we find out what they have been hiding. They all look awfully guilty. Chaz looked more than a bit amused. Bumblebee looks like he's going to vibrate through his chassis if he doesn't spill the beans soon. We should tell the others that we have a con on the base before he's back to full strength. Bumblebee had never kept anything from the other bots and he didn't like the feeling. Barricade is one of the most notorious bots out there for getting out of any situation. He might just slip away after Ratchet's done with him, and then we'll have to deal with an enemy that knows right where we are. Sam sighed and rubbed his hand across his forehead. He hasn't done anything to show that he's going to be a threat, and I highly doubt that he's going to return to the side that turned him into little more than barely salvageable scrap metal. Not only that, but Harry actually likes him. He spends at least a couple of hours each day in the bay talking with him, and even Ips seems to have taken to him to the point that he actually leaves Harry alone in the room with him regularly. Several of the grunts snickered at the reminder of how much of a mother hen Ips had become. Even Will had to fight the urge down. If he was really a threat, I don't think that Ratchet would have even considered having him holed up in the bay. What if he's just playing everyone in some plot and we could have stopped it by letting Optimus know he was here? Bumblebee was getting a bit desperate to make everyone agree to tell the others. He really wanted them to know what was going on. Will looked at Bumblebee with a sudden understanding. If it really bothers you that much, we will tell them when Barricade is almost completely repaired. Will had to cut Bumblebee off when he made to interrupt. He needs to be able to keep himself alive long enough to prove to the others whether he's really a threat or not. I don't want to be responsible for getting an injured soldier that could be a very useful ally killed because we got impatient. How are you feeling today? There was something about being around Barricade that helped calm me down even when everything around the base was starting to pick up. More and more Autobots were communicating with the base, and some were said to arrive within the next month. Along with that, Ups had been dropping hints that there was going to be a big surprise and the end of the week, and it was all going to drive me nuts in no time. Barricade just lets me set the tone whenever I visit. I am close to full function, though I am suffering from what you humans refer to as claustrophobia and a very large dose of boredom, though I would not dare to tell the Autobot medic that his bay is anything other than a thrilling place to be. Barricade made a show of looking around to make sure that the medic wasn't in range before giving off the impression that he was smirking. You do know that the yellow bug is likely to either tell the other Autobots or convince someone else to. I sighed and leaned against Barricade's driver door. Yeah, he gets twitchier by the moment. I just hope that he waits until you're capable of avoiding Ironhide. He'll probably shoot before they get halfway into the story. It is in his programming to make sure that any and all enemies get blasted before they get the chance to do the same to him. About the only thing that would stop his automatic reaction would be the presence of either a non-combatant or ally in his cannon's path. 2 days later, Bumblebee finally managed to convince the soldiers that Barricade was in good enough shape to face the other Autobots, though Ratchet was somewhat less than pleased. You will not get scraped after I just got done putting your raft back together, or I will attach everything backward. The Autobots that weren't in the know gathered with a small amount of amusement as Bumblebee practically vibrated with nervousness, and the soldiers watched him with hidden smiles. Sam was almost in as bad a shape as B. Well, we have gathered here as asked. Is there something that you need to tell us? Optimus tried to sound as official as usual, but B looked too much like a sparkling to keep all of the amusement out of his voice. It was Sam that got up the courage to speak. We may have done something that wasn't strictly the best thing to do, but we had very good intentions. Sam rubbed his hands against his jeans and looked toward the bay. When we were getting our things from our house so that we could come here, Harry was approached by a Decepticon that asked for help. Optimus could feel circuit in his head give an unpleasant jolt. As Harry is still in good health, I will assume that this Decepticon did not get the chance to cause any harm, so why do you feel it necessary to bring it up to all of us now, and why did you not tell us of this when it happened? Well, the Decepticon was in really rough shape. He probably would have died in a week on his own, and he wanted to appeal to Harry to get some help. Sam looked up in time to see a dawning recognition pass over most of the Autobots' faces as they turned almost as one to look at a greatly amused Ratchet. Harry couldn't just leave him there, and he did promise to not hurt anyone. Ratchet even disabled his weapons so he couldn't use them on the base after he recovered. We have a Decepticon on the base and no one thought it prudent to inform me that he was here? Optimus mostly directed the question at Bumblebee and Ratchet. I can understand that Bee's attachment to Samuel would cause him to conceal the information at his request, but as my medical officer you should have informed me of such a danger in my own base. Ratchet looked nonplussed by the quasi-reprimand and flicked some imaginary dust off of his shoulders. The bot was hardly a threat with half his aft hanging off and the most of his weapons already out of commission. He has also been on his best behavior, for a con anyway. And just who is our unexpected guest? Ironhide had the feeling that he was not going to like the answer, not that he thought that there was going to be a con that he would prefer having over another, barring Megatron himself of course. Sam looked to the amused soldiers behind him and hit the button on his phone to let Harry know that it was time to bring Barricade out. All the Autobots watched as the bay door opened and a newly restored police cruiser pulled slowly out of the bay with a highly amused Harry sitting carefully on the hood of the car. Hi. Ironhide pulled his cannons back before they were even halfway to a releasable charge. Harry, you should remove yourself from my cannon path so I can eliminate the threat. Harry wiggled a bit before settling more comfortably on the hood. I will not let you shoot an unarmed bot just because you're trigger happy. He's been here for quite a while now and he hasn't hurt anybody, even though I've been alone with him on multiple occasions. You all may be mechanical but you still have free will, so there's nothing stopping one of you from changing your ways. Harry huffed a bit and glared at Ironhide until he lowered his cannon arm. Until he proves untrustworthy you will treat him as you would anyone else on this base. He isn't an enemy right now, and he's just a recently healed soldier that needs a place to stay.
Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.